Alrighty, what is up, Watch Bros? I am Ginge. This is One Too Many Watches, and today I have a fun video that I'm excited to make. I'm a little stressed to make just because I don't have a lot of time to do this. But yeah, it's a video I'm excited to make because, well, it's a collection video. So this is going to be the state of my collection at the end of 2018 / the beginning of 2019. I'm excited to make it just because I'll always have this to look back on and see kind of where the collection was at and see where it's gone. I mean, looking at the watches right now, I can see there's a lot. When I lay them all out, I'm like, damn, bro, you need to chill. And one thing I'm kind of noticing about my collection is I've really focused on the low end over these years. I've been collecting probably about 4 years now, and I've focused on kind of the budget range. So that's under $1,000. A lot of these, honestly, probably around $250, somewhere in that range. And in 2019, I definitely want to consolidate, and I'm going to focus on going after some high-end pieces that I've been lusting after, but just haven't wanted to really commit to spending money on them. But in 2019, I'm going to try to do that. So yeah, like I said, this is going to be my collection. I'm just going to say a quick couple things about each watch, maybe just give you the name, maybe a spec or two, and then move on to the next because there's a lot to run through. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. I'll just get right into it. Alrighty, so there's not going to be a real rhyme or reason to this as far as the order goes. I'm just going to kind of grab what's in front of me and run through. I might start with some of the stuff I don't really wear that often, and then I'll kind of, at the end, I'll definitely put in maybe my top couple, maybe like my favorite 3 or so will definitely be at the end. I mean, I love all these in their own way, but probably the last 3 would be the ones in my collection that I'll probably never sell. So yeah, alrighty, let's get into it. So the first watches I'm going to start with are watches I don't wear often. The first 2 here, I think you'll laugh at a little bit, especially the first one. Whatever, let's just get into it. So this ugly, beautiful watch right here is the Skone 5146. It's a Richard Mille clone. I bought this as kind of a goof. It's a fun little Halloween watch. It's absolutely ridiculous. Probably the thickest watch I've ever owned. Huge. Yeah, I bought this just as a goof. I've only worn it a couple times. I actually wore it in the water once because it said it was waterproof or water resistant, and immediately filled up with water inside that see-through case there. But yeah, I took the case back off, threw it in the sun, and it dried out nicely. Yeah, just kind of a joke watch, but honestly, Richard Mille is definitely on my dream watch list. I really want a Bubba one day. That is a very expensive watch, so it's going to be a long time till I get that. But yeah, just wanted to try something similar on. I never wear this thing pretty much just because I don't like wearing fake watches. But yeah, so this is the first watch, the Skone Richard Mille clone. Alrighty, the next watch I bought strictly for Christmas. I went to SantaCon in Seattle this year, and I've seen some reviews on these little Submariner homage watches. This is the T-Vise T8 01A, I believe. But yeah, kind of a Hulk, Rolex Hulk clone. I mean, it's a fine watch. It runs decent. It's got the automatic movement there. I mean, you can tell everything is kind of cheap as far as the movement goes. That's like a fake rotor. It's like a cover on top of the rotor. But yeah, so the T-Vise Hulk clone, that's the second watch here in the collection. Again, I really never wear it. I just kind of bought it because I wanted something green for the holidays. Alrighty, next up is this Timex Yacht Racer. It's the Timex Intelligent Quartz Yacht Racer. It's actually kind of a cool watch. So it has the different countdowns that have actually been pretty useful with my job. I bought it just because I thought it looked cool, and they were pretty cheap on Amazon at the time. And I didn't have a ton of chronographs in the collection at the time, and I thought this would be a pretty useful tool watch. It is rather big. I forget the actual measurements, which is why I don't wear it often. I prefer kind of the smaller side watches. But it's a fun little watch in the summertime or for work if I need to use a chronograph or a countdown. So that's the Timex Intelligent Quartz Yacht Racer. Alrighty, next watch up is one I got for the holidays that I've been enjoying so far, if this will focus. So this is a 111 watch. It's a solar powered watch that I just got for wearing to work. Something I can beat up, something I don't have to care too much about. It's got a nice kind of navy blue dial. I assume the solar is in there. They do a good job of not making that obvious like some of the Eco Drives do. But yeah, just a fun little beat around watch that I wear for work. So another one of my work watches here that gets heavy usage is the classic G-Shock. Focus here. So this is the G-Shock DW5600E, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, based on the original, I think the only difference is it doesn't have kind of the brick print kind of going around the dial there. But yeah, I mean, not much to say about this watch. Just an absolute tough beater. Tells you everything you need to know. Plenty of functions in there. Probably the best beater watch. Watch you can wear to the gym, wear it in the ocean, wear it to work. You don't have to care about it. It's so cheap. If it breaks, screw it, throw it away, buy another. But it is not likely to break on you. So that's the good thing about it. But yeah, that's the G-Shock. So yeah, moving into another G-Shock here. This is and this reference is the worst. So here we go. G-Shock GW M56110MD-7JF, I believe. What a name for this. Yeah, honestly, this is kind of my for fun G-Shock. Wear it in the summertime, wear it golfing, because I found out you're not supposed to wear mechanical watches golfing, so I wanted a quartz. And this also is inspired by my love of Richard Mille. It has a slight resemblance to a Bubba Watson, great golfer, and he has my dream Richard Mille watch, so that is why I bought this. But yeah, kind of a fun watch, solar powered. I don't know if I said that. And pretty much all the same functions as the regular G-Shock, just plus solar, and really bought this one just for the aesthetic. Another work/beater here. This is my Victorinox Inox 241683.1, I believe is the reference. But yeah, it's an Inox, one of the toughest watches out there. You can look into them. They have a really cool backstory as far as their testing goes. They've put this through probably one of the harshest tests you could ever put a watch through. I think they ran it over. They put it in a washing machine. I think they lit it on fire. I don't know. They did some crazy stuff to it. But yeah, I was at a TJ Maxx one day and I saw this thing for a crazy deal, a fraction of the MSRP, and even way less than what they go for on like eBay, gray market sort of deal. So I figured I'd pick it up just for fun, because I've been curious about them. But now that I have it, I wish I had the black dial on a bracelet, or the blue dial on a bracelet. I think would be awesome. But I would never really spend the money on getting that. I'd put that towards something else. So it's fun just to have in the collection, wear it to work all the time, beat the hell out of it. Tough watch, quartz powered. I'm really interested in the automatic, to be honest, but I don't know if that's going to take priority as far as pickups over the next couple years. But yeah, Victorinox Inox in the green on the stock strap. Alrighty, gonna run through a couple of Seikos here. The first one is, if it'll focus on here, Alrighty. This is the Seiko 5 SN-ZH60. So that Blancpain 50 Fathoms kind of homage watch, I guess you could call it. It has its own thing going on, but it is inspired by the Blancpain. So yeah, this is the gold one. I bought it just because it looks crazy, and sometimes it's nice to have something kind of flashy looking, but for nights going out to the bar, but you're not worried about banging it around if you get too blacked out. Honestly, that's probably why I bought this watch. Just something flashy. I don't have many gold pieces in my collection, gold tone or solid gold. So I wanted to pick something up, and I love black and gold together for dive watches. So that's why I grabbed this guy here. Classic Seiko 5. Movement back there. Not much to look at, but cool to see. I recommend this watch to a lot of my friends who are looking into getting their first automatic. I recommend this one in blue or black on just normal stainless. I wouldn't recommend you go for the gold necessarily, but it is just a crazy fun watch to have in your collection for super cheap. The next Seiko here, I forget the reference on this guy, and I don't feel like looking it up at the moment. But this is the Seiko Nautilda, I think is the kind of nickname for it. So it's a Seiko 5 that kind of resembles a Nautilus, Patek Philippe Nautilus. I think they're discontinued, or maybe they still make it in the gold, I think. But this stainless with the black dial you don't see too often, so I think it is getting rare. I mean, it's by no means an expensive watch, but I bought it for dirt cheap from a friend. Just something fun to have in the collection. As you can see, it is pretty beat up, scratched up from a previous owner. But just something I have in the collection to wear for fun every now and then. Same movement back there, the classic Seiko 5 movement, whatever that is. I forget the reference. But yeah, Seiko Nautilda. Don't wear it very often, but I'll probably never get rid of it. It's just fun to have. I think we're about halfway through here. Just grabbed a guy I haven't worn since the summer, but here we go. This is, if it'll focus, this is the Vostok Amphibia. Kind of a cult classic. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen a bunch of reviews of this guy on YouTube. It is a Russian-made watch. It is a clunker of a watch. You know, not a lot of care and effort goes into building these. The crown, when you pull out the stem, is one of the worst feelings in the world. Setting the watch, setting the date is an absolute headache. But for some reason, I absolutely love this guy. It has been on so many vacations with me. In the summer, it's typically on an orange silicone strap. Wear it in the ocean all the time. Right now, it's on this leather, just because I don't have a lot of white face watches. So I do actually wear it occasionally, kind of casually, other than just to the beach. But yeah, this is my Vostok Amphibia. I don't think I'll ever let this guy go either. This one will probably stay in the collection just because of the memories I have attached to it. Time in Mexico, sometimes in New York. I had some good times with this watch. So yeah, that's the Vostok Amphibia. So this little guy I just got for Christmas from my girlfriend's aunt and uncle. They found out I was into watches and they got me one. I have no idea what this is, but it's actually kind of a fun little watch. It's Japanese made. I think it's a RICOH is the name. Yeah, I know nothing about it. It's got 21 jewels automatic on the dial there. It's got a very funky case. It's got that cool gold, I don't know if you want to call that a bezel, but the surrounding of the dial there. Just a fun little watch, and I was really appreciative that they went out of their way to find me something different when they found out I was into watches. But yeah, a cool little piece just added to the collection that's funky, and I'll wear it occasionally. It's cool. gonna get into some vintage inspired watches here. These ones definitely get a lot more rotation than a lot of the ones you've seen already, other than my work watches. So yeah, let's get into them. Alrighty, first one up here. Oh my god, this light is killing me. So this is the Swatch System 51 Hodinkee collab. I think it's called the Vintage 84. So yeah, this is a collaboration that Hodinkee did with Swatch, the first one. I think there's a blue and white one out now that they've done really recently. But yeah, this is kind of a cool watch. I'm not a huge Swatch guy. I don't really like the way that they fit on my wrist, to be honest. I'm not sure why that is. But yeah, plastic case, got a cool aluminum bezel. There's the movement there. Probably the coolest part about the watch is the movement. Actually, definitely is. I wanted a System 51 in the collection just because of the movement. It's the first 100% mechanically made movement. So that's made by machines, so with no human intervention in the process. I think that's kind of cool. Some people think that's kind of the opposite point of mechanical watches. You want something handmade, something that passion and care went into. But I think it's cool to see how far technology has come. So that's why I wanted a System 51 in the collection. And when Hodinkee did the collab with Swatch, I knew that that was the one I wanted. At the time, I think I had a white System 51. But if I was only going to have one in the collection, this had to be it. So yeah, that's the System 51 Hodinkee Vintage 84. So the next two are recent additions to the collection from a cool brand I just stumbled across. You've already seen a review of one of these here. The brand is Henry. So this is the one, if you've been watching my videos, you've seen the review on already. Come on, there we go. So this is the Henry London Westminster Moonphase watch. So these are just quartz vintage inspired pieces. As the story goes, I believe the founders of the company were at a flea market, and they found a watch that had Henry engraved on the back, and they were watch guys. They wanted to start their own company, and I think they based kind of the case and design of the watches on that vintage piece that they found. So that's where the name comes from. But yeah, this was the first Henry I got. It's a triple calendar moon phase. I wanted a triple calendar moon phase, a vintage one. But I've been nervous about pulling the trigger, so I'm waiting until my watch dealer finds me a good one, something that's already been serviced. But this I thought could hold me over for a while. It's just a modern representation of a vintage watch. It was super cheap, which is cool, but yeah, just something to hold me over until I get that one that I'm looking for, the vintage piece that I'm looking for. So that is the Henry London Westminster. And then this was a recent Christmas gift that I got just a couple of days ago. This is the Henry London Knightsbridge chronograph. That dial is absolutely gorgeous blue, but it is killing me with the light here. So yeah, a real rich blue there with the panda registers, kind of the white panda registers. Yeah, just another watch from Henry, quartz chronograph. Yeah, I was happy to get this one for Christmas. It was a nice little stocking stuffer. But yeah, those are my two little Henry watches. So this next one was a very recent pickup from actually a thrift shop. I know what you're thinking, but yep, now that it's focused, you can see it is not a Cartier. It is a Gruen tank style watch. It's a vintage manual wind, and I threw it on this old worn and wound strap that I had lying around. But yeah, I am obsessed with Cartier tanks right now. I definitely want to add one to the collection soon. That might be my first watch purchase of 2019. Will be a Cartier tank, hopefully. If I find one I like. But yeah, this Gruen is a great kind of homage to that. I have no history on this watch. I looked into just seeing what else was out there like it on eBay and whatnot, and I could not find a single watch from Gruen like this. So I know nothing about it, but it's a great little watch, and I got it for like $5 at Value Village. So this will hold me over until I get my Cartier. But yeah, getting a lot of wrist time, especially for the holidays, you know, dressing up a bit. The case is beat to shit. The gold plating has worn off quite a bit, but it's just a classy watch. That's why I want a Tank. You know, I love the Roman numeral dial. And yeah, every time I look at this thing, I just can't wait to get a Cartier. So yeah, that is my vintage Gruen Tank. Another vintage watch I got this year is this Seiko here. Come on. I know you guys are getting sick of the focus here, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is just a kind of a simple little vintage Seiko here. Actually, I shouldn't say a little. The reason why I bought this is because it is huge. At least it feels huge on the wrist for a vintage watch. I'd say it has to be at least 30, it might be like 38, 37 or something like that millimeters. It has a ton of wrist presence. It's got a gold tone case and that sunburst silver dial. Yeah, when I saw this thing for the price that it was at on eBay, I had to snatch it up because I wanted a gold kind of dressier watch. This is before I got that little Henry, and before I got the Gruen. So yeah, I wanted a dress watch, and this was doing it for me. Originally, when I got it, it did have an issue. The hands were sticking together. They're not stuck together right now. They're just on that time. I had my watch guy look at it. He bent the hands, and then they were working fine. They were just getting hung up on each other. But yeah, this is my vintage Seiko. Sorry, I don't have a reference for you right now. So next up here is my absolute favorite watch I wear to work. This is the Hamilton Khaki Automatic. There we go, got the focus. Yeah, I picked this up about midway through the year, and I have been in absolute love with it. Actually, my watch dealer saw it on my wrist, loved it too, so he picked one up for himself, and then we picked one up for my buddy got one as well for his birthday this year, because he's never had a nice Swiss watch, and this is kind of the perfect introductory Swiss automatic in my opinion. Yeah, just a great little field watch. It's a good size. I think it's 38. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But yeah, small size on the wrist. It fits super comfortable. There we have the Swiss movement there. I think it's an ETA. I forget the reference. But yeah, Hamilton Khaki Field Automatic, probably my go-to watch for work. Alrighty, so last one up before I get into my top 5 here is the Bulova. Let's get that to focus. Focus. Okay, there we go. This is the Bulova AccuSwiss 63C115, I believe is the reference. So yeah, I saw this watch, or a variant of it, in a video that Just One More Watch did, I believe. He was talking about value chronographs. So this is a Swiss-made chronograph that Bulova did, the AccuSwiss series. I think they discontinued this series maybe this year or a couple years ago, so they've been kind of discounted. After I watched the video, and then I went on eBay to see what they were going for, brand new, and it was absolutely ridiculously cheap for a Swiss-made chronograph. I think it was like $250 for a brand new Swiss-made chronograph. So yeah, I had to jump on it. Picked one up. I think the prices are starting to creep up now. It's kind of dumb to think of this as an investment watch, but in a weird way I do, just because you look at how much you get for your money there. At $250, I mean, this thing's only going to go up, I feel. So that's kind of why I bought it, but I've fallen in love with it since I've owned it. You'll see in the video this dial can be a little frustrating. Some of the markers kind of disappear. It's a dark gray, I'd say. It might supposed to be black, but it's kind of a dark gray. Looks great on this strap. I can't remember. I think shout out to Real Leather Creations on Amazon. Great cheap straps, guys. I'd look into them. But yeah. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. I've been talking too long. So this is my Bulova AccuSwiss 63C115, I believe. Yeah, just a great Swiss-made automatic chronograph. Alrighty, so we are down to the top 5. I know I was going to say top 3, but when I was going through my collection, I kind of broadened it to the top 5 watches that I know I will never sell. So these are the 5 watches that no matter what will always be in my collection. And the first one, you might laugh at why this is going to stay in the collection, but I absolutely love it. And for no amount of money, I could see myself selling this. So this is the Citizen AV0031-59 or the EcoDrive Caliber 2100. So why? Why would I never sell this watch? Well, it's because one of my favorite shows of all time was Parks and Recreation. And this was the watch worn through the whole series by Ron Swanson, my favorite character, the guy with the mustache, if you remember him. But yeah, so Ron Swanson wore this watch through the whole series. I mean, not this exact watch. This isn't his watch, but the same model, the Caliber 2100. And I absolutely love that show. I rewatch that in the office probably once a year, go through the whole series. And every time I see it, it brings a smile to me when I see it on the screen. And Ron Swanson is just one of the best characters of all time. He's the man's man. So I think it's kind of funny that they picked this watch for him. Maybe it was his personal watch and he just wanted to wear it. I don't know the story behind it. But yeah, you can see it in a lot of scenes. So yeah, this is the Caliber 2100 by Citizen. This guy is never gonna go. This is the Ron Swanson. Alrighty. Next watch that'll never leave the collection is my Seiko SKX. Not an impressive watch. They're a dime a dozen. But this Seiko SKX has been everywhere with me. Anytime I've gone on vacation, anytime I've traveled, this has been in the box. Just because it's cheap, it's durable, it's reliable. And that's why I take it everywhere I go, because I'm not worried about it getting lost, damaged, or stolen. But I hope it never does. I want to keep building memories with this watch. You know, every scratch will have a story. So yeah, this is my SKX. I don't need to say much about it. Everybody knows what it is. Most people will probably own one at some point. But I want to start building a life for this guy as far as vacations and whatnot, build some stories with it and maybe pass it down one day. Who knows? Yeah, that's my Seiko SKX 007. Alrighty. I gotta stop saying alrighty before I start every shot, don't I? Okay, so the next watch, the third to last watch here, is a watch I will never let go because it was the first watch I ever spent really any money on. This is my, 7 Friday P1-1, I believe is the reference. Yeah. These are kind of loved and hated by the watch community. I would say they were one of they kind of started, in my opinion, they kind of started the micro brand movement, or at least it's the watch that made me pay attention to micro brands. They were super popular a couple years ago. They were all over Instagram. I guess some people probably think of them as a higher end movement watch just because of the style and amount of marketing that they did back in the day. But yeah, this was probably my first Grail watch. I know that sounds funny that a 7 Friday could be somebody's Grail watch, but when I first started collecting maybe 4 years ago, I would see this thing on Instagram and be like, wow, one day I'm going to get that watch. And, MSRP on these things isn't even that high. I think it was like $1,200 or something like that, which was a crazy amount of money for me back then to spend on watches. I was like, damn, I can't believe somebody would spend that much money. And then I found out how much a Rolex cost and that sort of thing, and that blew my mind. But yeah, so this was my first Grail watch, and I will never forget the day when I found it on eBay for a good deal, and I could afford it, so I pulled the trigger on it, and when it came in the mail, I was ecstatic. To check off a goal like that was really cool, and every time I do it, it's a great feeling, and I'm gonna keep going for that. Keep checking off Grails, but my first Grail will never leave the collection. Even though I hardly wear it, you can see it's got plenty of scratches on it because I have beat the crap out of it over the years, but I don't wear it that often just because of the size of it. It's huge compared to what I like nowadays. But yeah, the 7 Friday P1-1. My second to last watch here that will never leave the collection is this. Come on now. This vintage Longines. It's nothing crazy. It's just a simple vintage Longines, but it was my great uncle's watch. There's not really any watch collectors in my family other than my grandpa, and not on that side. My grandpa on my mom's side. This was on my dad's side. My grandpa and my cousin, who's actually my watch dealer. So there's not a lot of watch collectors in the family. So there's not going to be a lot of watches passed down. I hope to start that tradition in my family of passing watches down. But this was kind of the one that's made its way towards me. My great uncle left it to my dad, and it's tiny. I think it's about 32 millimeters, and my dad's a big guy, so it doesn't fit him. So he passed it on to me. But yeah, I will never sell this watch just because there's not really any family heirloom watches. This is pretty much the only one in my family other than my watches. So yeah, it's never going to leave the collection. He was a great guy. He was a man's man, and he wore this tiny little vintage Longines. So I think that's pretty cool, and a lot of sentimental value in this guy. Okay, so the final watch. This watch will never, ever leave my collection. It was my second Grail watch that I was able to purchase other than the 7 Friday. So yeah, this is... Let's get that to focus, do it justice here. This is my Rolex 16030, I believe is the reference. It's a Rolex Datejust with the engine turn bezel. Just something a little different than your typical Datejust. But yeah, Rolex Datejust was definitely on my Grail list. And I was super excited to check that off this year. I went from, I had an Omega Speedmaster automatic, so the Speedy reduced. And then I traded that for a Rolex Oyster Date, I believe. Yeah, I think it was just called an Oyster Date. Vintage Oyster Date with a roulette dial, smooth bezel. That was a great watch, but I've always lusted after the Datejust just because of the bracelet. I love the Jubilee bracelet. And when my dealer, my cousin, brought this one to me and said, hey, what do you think about it? I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. And this probably gets the most wrist time out of all of my watches. I absolutely love this thing. So comfortable on the band, looks super classy, looks great with pretty much any outfit. I think I've only wore it on a strap maybe once or twice just because I love the band so much. But yeah, this is my Rolex Datejust 16030. Yeah, this is never, ever, ever leaving the collection. I love this watch. This will get passed down one day. Alrighty, so there you have it. That is my whole collection. So many watches. I've been talking for so long. Yeah, So definitely going through everything. It's nice to go through everything because you can really kind of see what you have going on. You can see kind of the redundancies. You know, there's a lot of stuff I don't need in here, so I'm probably going to consolidate over 2019, you know, sell off a lot of stuff I don't wear, and then put that towards, like I said, I want to go for higher end stuff in 2019. Definitely going to bump it up to, I shouldn't be buying anything under $1,000 anymore. Other than, I think, the Seiko Cocktail Time, I definitely want to grab one of those just to try it out, see what that's about. But other than that, I'm going to focus on stuff 1,000 to maybe 5,000 in 2019. Somewhere in that price range will be the pieces I'm looking for. Yeah, so that's my collection, guys. Let me know what you think. I'd love to see your guys' collection videos. I've been flipping through them on YouTube recently just to kind of see the guys that make videos. What do they have? It's cool to see kind of people's stories with the watches and their taste, you know, kind of see what they're about. I know mine was all over the place. I have a super random collection. I'm not focused in on one thing. I have a little bit of everything. But yeah, there it is. All right, hope you guys had a great 2018, and let's go into 2019 strong. It's going to be a fun year.